Welcome to Jackets TV and our one-on-one, and today's focus on assistant coach Brad Berry. And Brad, first and foremost, let's find out a little bit more about you getting away from hockey. Tell us about your National Hockey League background and what you've been doing with yourself here over the last few years.
Well, you got a little bit of time here because it's going to take a while. I got drafted by the Winnipeg Jets, second round, 29th overall in the 1983 draft. I guess I should prelude that to playing 3 years at the University of North Dakota. Played there, left after my third year, signed a pro contract with the Winnipeg Jets. Played 241 NHL games with Winnipeg, Minnesota, and then they relocated to Dallas. Went there, and then ended my career in Kalamazoo, Michigan, of all places, as kind of a mentor to all the young players like Brad Lukowich, Marty Turco, Jamie Langenbrunner. And that's kind of where I decided that I wanted to take that next step as a coach, as far as in that mentorship role, and went on to coach 6 years at the University of North Dakota before going to the Manitoba Moose for a couple of years in the American League. Took a year off for family reasons to catch up with the family. There were some health problems there, so I wanted to make sure I helped out. And then there was an opportunity to come to Columbus with Scott Arniel, who I coach with in Manitoba. So in a nutshell, that's a 2-minute capsule of a long time.
Tell me about the connection with Scott Arniel, because you guys are exceptionally close, and when he got the job, first thing he said is he pretty well knew who his first assistant was going to be.
Well, you know what? I think it's a matter of trust and relationships and commonality. And I was fortunate enough to play with Scott. I knew him as a player in Winnipeg, played for a short amount of time before he went to Buffalo, and then again played against him in the IHL when he was with the Moose. We stayed with our friendship through the years. He got an opportunity to get back to Winnipeg and be a coach, and he asked me if I'd like to be his assistant in Manitoba. And I'll tell you one thing for sure: out of 6 years coaching college, playing numerous years in the NHL, American League, IHL, those 2 years in Manitoba that I coached with him, I learned so much to be a coach, how to prepare, how to be a professional in those 2 years. And that's why when he asked me to come to Columbus, it didn't take long for me to say yes.
I'm sure. Hockey inspirations to you, could you name a couple?
Well, I think one of your friends, Bobby Orr, inspirations, he's probably first and foremost. I grew up in Canada, and Edmonton Oilers at the time weren't at the NHL scene, they were in WHA. I grew up in Alberta, but Montreal Canadiens were the team that I liked, with Ken Dryden and Guy Lapointe, Larry Robinson, all those icons.
Best hockey memory?
Best hockey memory? Probably playing 8 times a year against the Edmonton Oilers when in the Smythe division, the old Smythe division of the NHL, when we played Edmonton 8 times, and you look at that lineup: Gretzky, Anderson, Messier, Curry, Gretzky, Fuhrer, Moog, I mean, you name it. But every year we had to run into them in playoffs, and there was only 1 year where we beat them out. But I would say that would probably be the highlight.
Your first hockey memory?
First hockey memory? General hockey memory would be my dad and myself in the outdoor rinks. He flooded the rink in the backyard when I was 3-4 years old. And then he was kind of the old school approach, like he didn't pamper or coddle. As far as he was a hard-nosed approach, and you carried your bag. Nowadays you see parents carry their kids' bags and sticks. He was you walk to the rink on your own, 4 or 5 blocks away in the cold, and you'd come back. But I think him first and foremost was probably the most inspirational memory.
Any, maybe not so memorable moments, maybe embarrassing moments in hockey over your career?
A couple. Getting into tangle with Clark Gillies. I would say as a rookie, finished my check, got my elbow up a little high, and came back into our defensive zone. I heard like a freight train coming, and he ran me over, and then the gloves were off, and I got a couple in, but it didn't faze him. And I had a couple black guys there. Probably that would be the first one.
And finally, maybe a personal quality that you appreciate more than any other?
I would say hard work and honesty, truthfulness. If you can get that from a player or a coach, that's probably the first 2 qualities in a person, on the ice and off the ice. Hard work and honesty.
I've really enjoyed this. Thanks for your visit.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
And that wraps up this week's edition of One on One with assistant coach Brad Berry. See you again next week.